Um, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Princess Nwakego Ibrahim-Pam, the founder and chairperson of Expert Professional and Business Women's Network International. You are with us on our one-on-one interview with Miss Simi Goshwe, a chaplain of in Jos. She's a very good friend of mine. But before we go on to her, I want to talk a little bit about the Expert Professional and Business Women's Network International. We started in the year 2013 in Tunisia, basically to help expatriate spouses who follow their husbands or wives to their workstation. And we wanted to create a platform where we can support each other emotionally, career and business-wise, and also to make our CV active. Because what mostly happens is that by the time we go with our various spouses to their various workstation, we come back home and we've been left behind. So 25 women from about 18 African countries and European countries came together in Tunisia to form this platform called the Expert Professional and Business Women's Network International. We have chapters in about 25 countries, representatives in many, many countries around the world. And this network grew organically from women joining the network and seeing the importance and the impact it has had on their lives, and they want to share with other women in their communities or in their countries. So we operate in different fields of development and empowerment of women. We provide legal advice and pro bono lawyers for women who suffer from domestic abuse and sexual abuse. We provide shelter for women who are vulnerable and are willing to find a shelter for safety reasons. We also provide psychological anonymous services for women who are going through grief, assault, neglect, or are just generally in a vulnerable position in their life as of the time the needs were requested. We also have a business enterprise where we teach women how to start businesses from zero capital. Use what you have, any space you have in your house, any skills that you have, any knowledge that you have, it can be turned into a viable business from home so that you can make passive income or grow financially and have your financial stability. We also have the publishing house where women from all over the world, from different backgrounds, economic, ethnic background, come together to tell their stories so that their stories will be heard in their voices. And so the Expert Professional Business Women's Network International is a platform that builds, is a platform that creates opportunities, a platform that creates networking across borders, across ethnic and religious borders. It's a platform that helps a woman to move from point A to point B. And for the past 11 years, we have not stopped impacting lives of women and their families, because if you empower a woman, you empower a nation. So for the hundreds of women who have been empowered through this platform and have given me the opportunity to lead them and buy into my vision, I am very grateful. So today we have our special guest, who is chaplain, a Rotarian, Mrs. Simi Goshwe, a beacon of hope and empowerment. Chaplain Rotarian Simi Angelina Goshwe is a renowned Nigerian educator, community leader, and advocate for women's and girls' empowerment. She's a known name in Plateau State, Nigeria, West Africa. You're welcome to this interview. So it is my sole pleasure and honor to have you as a friend, as a collaborator, as a partner, and a sister that we work together on visions that we agree together. So you are welcome to this one-on-one interview, Simi Goshwe.
Thank you so much. I was really looking forward for this day, for this moment, and I'm most grateful and highly honored to be given this opportunity, this global stage, to stand up that girl from the Cactus and Rocky community of Kuru in Jos South. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I want you to tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Simi, my very self, I was born on the 15th of November in 1974 in the cactus and rocky community of Kuru in a Jos South local government area of Plateau State, Nigeria. I was born to the family of Da and Ngo Chuhwak Peters Mwankon, and the second surviving child of this family. And though now I'm now the most eldest, I lost my eldest sister in December 2024, and having 5 other siblings today. And I have been a child of grace. That's how I define myself, because after being born, then by the age of 3, I was fostered rather, into the family of the late Dr. and Ngo Teresa Musa, who both worked in the MBRI in VOM. That's the National Veterinary Research Institute in VOM. So I moved into that family in 1977, and went in there. They already had 3 children who are older than myself. The last 4 were given birth to when I was a member in that family. And growing up, I was given the privileges of a child born in that family. I was never segregated. At that time, mommy came to visit my own biological mom, and then she's, according to them, that I ran to her. She carried me on, and then I slept on her laps until when she was going. Then I woke up, and then I cried, wanting to just be with her. That was my divine connection for this purpose that God has given me today. And I have basically, like I said, enjoyed the privileges of being born in that family. And I was fortunate to, to make friends with children in that community in MVRI in VOM. And growing up was so interesting, and to say the least. And I always talk about my growing up days. So that's a bit I want to say now about myself. As we continue, I keep unveiling more about myself.
Fantastic. If you can take us through your educational pursuit, and then we'll move on to the different careers before we come back to the impact and ministry and all the other
Hmm.
things you've been involved in.
Okay. When I got to VOM in 1977, like it was, mommy had actually just taken me temporarily for the period. I think she said it was a vacation or so. So she just wanted to just take me there. Then when it was time to resume school, when her children were resuming, she planned to take me back home to my parents. But my late foster father, that Dr. Musa Marcus of blessed memories, said to her, he said, no, where are you taking her to? And I guess she must have told him my condition, my parental conditions or so. So he now advised that I should be taken to the school just opposite the house, Mrs. Magaji Nursery School, as it were. Worthy of note, Mrs. Magaji's son, Michael Magaji, who is the global president of the Unity Schools in Nigeria, whom, Keko, you know him very well. He's your president. His mother owned that school, and she only ran it for 2 years, the nursery and the pre-primary education. So I was there for 2 years, and after the nursery education there, I moved on to the National Veterinary Research Institute and Staff School, there where I had my primary education.
Hmm.
And it was such an amazing period for me because it was a true learning period. And then I stammered as a child. And until I became a teacher, I was stammering. How God was doing that in my life, I really don't know. But I knew myself as a stammering child. So it meant that most of the time during play, I wasn't heard much. I
mm,
wouldn't speak much, but I just did all my play and all of that. And we had a lot of fun growing up. And at that time in MVRI,
mm,
there were still many of the expatriate veterinary doctors and other from different countries, from Denmark, from Sweden, and so on and so on. You know, remembering likes of my friends, Chiji, Obi. Their mother was from Denmark, and then the likes of Ilolo, Roy, their mother was from Sweden, and so on. Then
yeah,
the OKKs, whose mother too was from. So many of them were there. Esther, Martin, Elaine, Sylvia, and all of that. So many of them. And then the other children there involved, the Nigerian children. We had a lot of fun growing up, a lot of adventure.
mm,
MPRI is built around a hill.
mm,
So we took advantage, you know, and would go up the hill, you know, and play and so on and so forth and all of that. So after MPRI Staff School, where I graduated as the assistant head girl in the school, and I proceeded to St. Louis College in Jos, where I had my secondary education. And it was another defining moment of my life, meeting young girls from diverse um, society, diverse ethnicities, and all of that, all over Nigeria. We had some Indian classmates and still some few expatriates there in St.
yeah,
Louis. So it was a good moment for me to have intercultural, interconnectivity, and then meeting people and so on and so forth. And then this is where I met my real friends in life, friends that I could call upon at any time, or we could spend so many hours on phone calls, emails, chattings, and all of that. The likes of Ramatu Umar Bako, who is also
yeah,
a member of
mm-hmm,
this global network, a very active member here, and so on and so forth. So it was actually a very good moment for me in St. Louis.
no,
But
fantastic.
then it struck up there when I was in school. Challenges began to become more heightened. I remembered my last school fees was paid when I was at the end of my junior secondary school three.
Mm,
That should be equivalent of a ninth grade or so, if I
yeah,
calculate it right. That was when my last school fees was paid.
mm,
I did not give up hope at that stage.
mm,
First of all, in my second year in school, I couldn't get all my textbooks bought for me.
mm,
And as if that was not enough, you know, then the school fees in the third year, end of the third year, the school fees stopped. And it
mm,
didn't even stop for a moment. That was the end of it till today.
mm,
So what now happened was that I continued in school. Severally, they would do school fees drives. Those girls owing would be sent back home. I would go and then I'll still sneak back into school.
mm,
Now, when I was in St. Louis College, Jos, we were trained. That was where we had our beginning of volunteer services.
mm,
You know, I was first in JS2. I worked in JS1. I worked in Ola Hospital in Jos as a volunteer worker. We went to visit sick people in the hospital, and then we gave some little assistance to those who ever needed the assistance while on admission in hospital.
mm,
Then in my second year, I was transferred to serve in the bishop's house, the late Bishop Gabriel Gonsun
mm,
Ganaka's house. All
mm,
those were volunteer services who were trained. Some girls were sent to work in the prison yard in Jos.
mm,
All that was volunteer service. And then sometimes girls were sent to sweep the streets of Tafa Balewa You know just a bit. I don't
Yes.
know how well more you remember, but around the standard building
Yes.
west of Mines,
Mm-hmm.
girls would be sent there on Thursdays to go and sweep the streets, St. Louis girls. And we
Mm.
did that diligent. So for me, that was, the drive that sets me to do the things that I'm able to do today. I believe God was intentional about giving me those opportunities. So in Form 2, I was now sent to work in the bishop's house. And then after that year, I was transferred, but the bishop requested I were to be brought back there. Remember, I was a stammering child
Yeah.
until then. So a lot of times, I don't know if that was what gave him the interest in my personality or so. And a lot of times, my conversation with him, he had an exercise book he
Mm.
gave me. I would write on it. you know, I would write on the exercise book. That was how my discussion with him, would go. I'd write him back what I wanted to say, the reply.
Oh,
So
wow.
this fateful day in my SS2 senior secondary school, that was Form 5, 11th grade to say, I walked up to him during prep in the night around 7 p.m.
Yeah.
I came out of the school compound. I walked through the security and went straight to his house. And
Yeah.
I told him to tell the principal, Reverend Sister Mary Patrick Dimlong, to just allow me school. When I graduated from school, I would come back and I would pay every money that I owed in
Oh,
St. Louis. And
wow.
he laughed. He laughed and he told me that it wasn't a charitable organization. And I
Organization.
quickly told him organization. So I told him I knew some girls who were in the school who were not paying school fees. And he asked me, and I named the girls, and he told me, he said, no, 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 that their bishops were paying their fees for them. Girls
Mm.
who came from Kano, the natives of Kano, the
Mm-hmm.
Christian native girls from Kano, the
Mm-hmm.
native girls from Sokoto, and
Mm.
then now we have Sokoto and Zamfara Zuru. And then
Mm-hmm.
we had some girls from Plateau State, from Bokos. That's the Irish potato growing community. So I
Yeah.
named those girls, and he told me no, they weren't there in school for free. And he told me that, do you eat Irish potatoes in school? I told him yes. So he
Mm-hmm.
told me that the girls from Bokos, their parents gave Irish potatoes in exchange for their school
In
fees.
school. Wow.
So, and I
Wow.
told him, I said, at that stage, I wasn't writing. The voice came. I was able to speak. Most
Hmm.
of it, I was able to speak to him. And I was very emotional speaking to him. So, and I told him, I said, even at that, sister should allow me. I make a vow that I'll come back and pay my fees when I graduated from school. Truth be told, the bishop came to sister the next day in school. I was invited into her office when he was there. And he asked me to repeat exactly what I told him. And I told him exactly what I said to him. And
Hmm.
sister said, where is the stammering? I told her, I said, I don't know where it has gone to, but I know I had to express myself.
Hmm.
And that was how I was allowed at that stage to go back to class. I was never called out again. But
Fantastic.
in between the way, I had to leave the boarding house at that period when the school fees stopped coming in, so
Yeah.
that it reduced the burden of the fees. So I lived in Genta Demu, not far from
Mhm. You're frozen. I'll be waiting until you can come back. Can you hear me? Simi, you're frozen. So while we wait for her, we'll have a technical break for her connection to come back. I'll just still talk about the Expert Professional and Business Women's Network International. We're here for you. Any woman who is vulnerable, who wants to start a business, you want to change your career, who hold your hands to brand you, who take you to all the necessary training that you need to rebrand yourself. She's just loved that. I'm hoping that she's going to log back in. So we use this opportunity to invite women from all over the world, different ethnic background. This is a platform that engages different people and different women to come and share their.
Sorry.
So she's back
Mm.
again. So I
Yes,
hand over
sorry,
the
network threw me out. Yes.
yes.
So
So
I knew
continue.
that I needed, okay, I knew that I needed to be very careful at that stage so that I didn't have to get punished in school for any reason. God was with me, and I graduated from school. As soon as I graduated, immediately when I did, I got a casual work at the West African Milk Company, WAMCO, there in VOM too.
Involve.
And yes, so, and I resumed work at 6 a.m. That was awkward.
Hmm.
And what was the job was to supervise those people who were harvesting the maize and soya beans for the company.
Yeah.
I myself and a few other youths informed them we did that job. And I was so grateful I had an opportunity of having a meal at work every day. The option of eating or the option of receiving the
Equivalent.
the salary, the equivalent, sorry, of the meal. I opted for the equivalent because I knew I had a task somewhere. I had made a vow, I had made a pledge to pay up all the fees that I owed. And that was so awesome. After 5 months of doing that work, I was able to gather the school fees I was owing, and I went back to pay every kobo that I owed St. Louis College just to the glory of God. And that's
This
where I truly know that my life is a life of purpose and a divine one for that matter.
What an excellent story. You actually graduated, went to work,
Mm,
accumulated enough money for your outstanding fees, and you went back and paid the school,
yes,
and they accepted.
yes,
Fantastic.
they
You know,
accepted.
you get to know people and you don't really know where they're coming from. And this is the importance
Yeah,
of this interview, because when people see where
mm,
you are today in life, they will never know that you lacked school fees. They will never know that where God is leading you, because I don't want to jump your story, so you be the
yeah,
one to tell it yourself, that you never
yeah,
saw the future coming, but because of
no,
your personality and your belief in faith, you were able to change the
mm,
trajectory of your life. Honestly, I'm
yeah.
very, very happy. Let's welcome Bjordan. Our sister is here. Bjordan, you're welcome. You can say hello to Simi, Goshwe. They just shared uh, her life story, how she was fostered, and it's an incredible story. So, um, you want to say hello to her when you can, and we continue. So, can you tell us, after you went back to St. Louis to pay back all the outstanding school fees,
Mm,
so how did you
yeah.
continue with your higher education?
Yes, after going back to pay, but worthy of note, when I was in St. Louis College during those my dark days, I had some
Yeah.
classmates who gave me some support here and there. I have particularly
Mm,
Engineer Kori Shetima from Borno State, a
mm,
Hausa Kanuri girl, a Muslim
mm,
for that matter in my class, who
yeah.
always gave me some little support and money. I don't know how well Corey remembers that, but the day I tried to tell her, she said she had not the slightest idea of any reminder of such. And then I had my friend Ramatu Umar, who was very become a day student. Ramatu always brought me a meal to school almost every day. That was great support because I didn't have that from where I was staying. In my auntie's house in Gentadam, I only needed a space to sleep at night. First thing in the morning, I was
Mm,
back in school, whether I
mm,
had a meal or not. But I knew that Ramatu Ramatu was so helpful to me, which I'm not sure she knew how very important that meal was for me every day.
Hmm.
And a my cousins like and his brother, Honorable Jonathan, to visit their own younger sisters in school. They came, they would always look for me. It was a whole lot of money because this school fees in St. Louis that couldn't be paid for. It wasn't so much. It was 55 naira every term. But it wasn't much money really now, but at that time it was a whole fortune. So
Yeah.
each time anybody gave me any money, a dash, I just ran to the bursary in the school and deposited such monies.
Hmm.
So this is part of where God sent in kingdom advancement workers.
Hmm.
I described them to my life at that time. And I remain eternally grateful for such people that came my way. So after St. Louis College, I adventured. I wanted to become a reverend sister. I
I'm
wanted
going to
to.
stop you here a little bit. Ramatu just came in, so I want you to just tell
Okay.
her personally what you just shared with us now. Ramatu.
Okay.
Good evening,
Okay.
everyone. Sorry, I'm a bit late.
No, you're welcome. Just at the
You're
right time.
welcome, Ramatu. I just told my story and your story in class in St. Louis. Ramatu and I were in the same class from Form 1 until we graduated. So during my dark days when I had to move out of the hostel to become a day student because of the challenges I had of my school fees not being paid from GASS 3 till we graduated. And Ramatu would always bring me a meal every day from school. Ramatu was a day student all through our stay in St. Louis College. So every time Ramatu was coming to school, she brought me food. And I don't think Ramatu knew what that food meant to a girl who hardly had food to eat because she had to make a choice of remaining in school or dropping out of school. And I chose that. And that was so helpful. Both
Hmm.
Ramatu and Kori Shetima, both of them Muslim young girls in my class, and they remain Muslim till today, but they were so instrumental to part of my being who I am today. To Ramatu, Nagode, thank you so much, Ramatu, for being a dear sister. Until tomorrow, you remain one of the closest friends I have ever had in my life, a true friend, indeed, and in words and indeed all the time. And worthy of note, Ramatu's mother is my own very mother because she adopted the children in Simji
Hmm.
as her grandchildren.
Fantastic. Biodun
Yes,
said, wow, that is true kindness. I talk about
yes.
kindness in life that people don't
Mm,
understand. Kindness show in very
mm,
little things. So many minute things
yeah,
we overlook. That's where the depth of kindness shows. And talking about
mm,
Ramatu,
yeah,
you just described her, having a one-on-one relationship with her, and it comes from personality. It comes from a place of faith and
yes,
love. There are a lot of
yeah,
people who have
yeah.
so much but cannot share. And there are a lot
They
of
can't
people
share.
who are privileged, and they resent people who are underprivileged. So to see people who are
Mm,
privileged and they have affinity with
yeah,
children who are underprivileged, it's
mm,
always a
mm,
blessing. So on behalf of
yeah,
Simi, I want to say thank you to Ramatu that even many years ago, you were able to show the quality and the gallantry that you've always shown as a woman. Thank you for that.
yeah.
So,
Ramatu and I met in class 40 years ago. We got to Form 1 40 years ago
years
this
ago.
year. So this story of her showing me extreme kindness began about 36 or 37 years ago. And that is
Fantastic.
my defining moment in life.
Ramatu, if you don't mind, I want to ask you, what was it at that young age that made you, what made you so sensitive to Simi that you were bringing food to school for her?
Well, I really enjoyed her company. She laughs. She's so friendly, and we're able to, vibe together. And
Mm,
I realized, like, a lot of borders, one of the
yes,
things they complain about is how terrible the food is. In
yes.
fact, I used to be an unofficial accountant for a lot of borders. They will give me their extra money. So it taught me very good accounting skills because I'll
Hmm,
put everybody's money in separate envelopes. Then
hmm.
they will tell me, bring 1 naira, bring 2 naira. Then I'll have
Oh,
to,
wow.
write meticulously minus 2 naira, the date. Then I'll put it in different envelopes. In fact, I was always buying envelopes to do that. So because I knew that I'd always bring food, for my friends,
Hmm,
extra food. And even though I was a day student, my dad used to pay for me to eat in the hostel. So
hmm,
I'll just go occasionally. Sometimes I'll give my food out to,
hmm.
other classmates. But when it was time for akara,
Uh-huh.
I'll never
She will
sorry,
not part
I would
with your
never share
akara.
my akara with anybody because that was like one of my favorite things. So it's
Hmm,
not something I really thought about, you know.
hmm,
It's just like when I'm with my friends, people always say I'm a feeder.
hmm.
If you're around me, I'll
Yes.
cook, share food, and it's not something I really think twice about.
Hmm, hmm.
And I'm the kind of person that when when I talk about friendship, it's
Yes.
friendship for life. I take you as you are, with no expectations and nothing.
Thank
So,
you.
I mean, once we just click and we just are in sync, we just flow. And it's nothing extraordinary. I'll just call it the grace of God because
Amen.
I also benefit from the friendships,
Hmm,
having someone like Angelina always behind me, supporting me, even right through my marriage,
hmm,
getting married. She was one of those that really, what do you call it, got a lot, rallied round in Jos,
hmm,
because then I was in Abuja at BC, but
hmm.
she really rallied round my classmates in Abuja and almost everything that had to do with Abuja. She was there. She helped tie my head tie on my wedding day. Those
Let me see
personal
that
touches.
time.
Those
You
personal touches
remember?
that you can never buy,
Yes.
and you just accept it. Like, look, this is my friend, she's my family.
Hmm.
We may not talk so often, but we follow each other, we encourage each other, and I know we are there for each other any point in time.
Thank you,
You're
Ramatu.
forgetting, Ramatu, you're forgetting that your husband and my husband were classmates in
Yes,
St.
so
Joseph's
they
College of
were,
Hope.
yes, they are classmates in St. Joseph's, and they were
Hmm.
very good friends too. So that
Yes,
was something
understood.
else that brought us
Together
together.
too. Oh, thank you, Ramatu. That's such a heartwarming story, and that is why this interview is so important. You think you know people, I've known you, Simi, for how long now, and there's no way I would have gotten the
Known this story.
information, that you've just shared on this interview, and
Yeah,
that's what makes it interesting. That when other young women get to listen to your interview, they know that it's not everything that glitter, that is gold.
yeah,
Somebody,
yeah.
it was hard work, diligence, perseverance, resilience that take you to the stage in life where you are. And that's
Yeah.
the essence of interviewing women like you that are in leadership, women like you that are taking care of younger women, and
Yeah.
because all young women see these days is the success, but they don't know about the process. There's always a process that leads you to where you are, your successes. There's always a lot of failures behind the successes that is recorded, and that's why this interview is so important, that people get to know the women in position of leadership, how they manage their challenges and their that they overcome, and how they're forging forward with even all the disadvantages and advantages around them. So thank you very much. We see that Chundusha has joined us. I think if
Oh,
I'm
that's good.
she's the judge,
Yes, no, not the judge.
the
She's
wife
a
of the
retired nurse. She's the
yeah,
wife of Dr. Professor Dumpam Shah in Political Science Department, University of Jos, my
judge.
lecturer.
Okay, you're welcome, ma. Hey, unmute. We can't hear you. Unmute and you speak. Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you, ma. And you?
We're
I'm
fine.
fine.
Thank you for
Actually,
joining us.
I'm on the road. I'm on
Okay.
the road.
Okay. Thank, thank you for
Thank you for
joining.
inviting me.
Yes, you're welcome, ma. You're welcome.
Yes.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Thank
So,
you.
yes, ma'am. So we return to the interview. So now that you're giving us a little bit background into your educational pursuit, I think I need you to transit from your educational pursuit now to your career. How and what are the processes that um, got you to being with Simji Orphanage and all the humanitarian work you've been involved in, all the empowerment project, I see you're so involved in so many entrepreneurship, and thank you
Yeah.
for also producing the washing soap we use as also soap for the system
Yes. Thank
Ibrahim-Pam. Those are the things that are so impactful that we want you to share with people on the platform.
Okay, yes. Having finished school from St. Louis, I quickly went to College of Education, Gindri, where I obtained the National Certificate in Education that made me the teacher that I am today. As a child, I always desired to be a teacher, and I'm very, very happy that I followed that desire. I remembered in St. Louis when during career counseling periods, when I say I wanted to be a teacher, my classmates would laugh at me. But I knew I just wanted to be a teacher, and I'm happy. For about 29 years now, I have been in the classroom as a teacher. I started work with St. Joseph's College, VOM. Very brief. It wasn't an easy task for me with young boys and the young girl. They would tease me, they would laugh at me sometimes, and they would always look for my pitfalls and all of that. But besides that, that was one other area that it's paying off for me today. I'm getting the result of teaching those young boys geography at the time. And Dr. Chindusha's two sons from St. Joseph's. I know I was a teacher. I can remember teaching one of them very well, but I'm not very sure at what stage I taught the second one. And that's one of the periods that I'm very happy about. And not too long, I left VOM and came to St. Louis College too, very brief. I wanted to be in the class, but most times sister would call me to the bursary, so I felt it was a distraction. So I soon left St. Louis College too, Kings and Queens Academy
Yeah,
in Jos.
yeah.
I was one of the foundation.
Yeah, she's frozen again. I also remember going to the Kings and Queens International School to apply. Then I just moved back to just in 1995. It was a beautiful school. Yeah, she's coming back. Okay. Your connection, is it better? Can you hear me? Sorry, her connection is breaking off. Simji, can you hear me? She's frozen. So while we're waiting for her, Ramatu, you want to continue talking about your interaction with her through the Simji orphanage? Okay, she relogged in again.
Okay, she's back. Are
Yeah,
you
she's
back, Simi?
Yes, I'm back. I'm
okay.
Okay.
back. Yes. So your nieces were there, Jumai and her brother, is it Nuhu also? I can't remember his name. Then Christine, is it Simon or so Pam,
Yeah.
your brother-in-laws, your
Yes.
children. Yes,
Yeah.
I taught all of them. So
Oh.
and meeting the Mwazu's family. Then, because before he became governor of Bauchi, one of the daughters couldn't read at all, Badria. So that was why I was brought in to be a home tutor for Badria and then the other children. Then he became governor, and that was a better moment for me. Not that I got anything so much, but I was grateful for my allowances paid promptly from that house, and it helps me a great deal. But that continued, and then my parents had a problem, my biological problem, parents this time, had a problem with where our family house had been built.
Yes.
And my father they soon went to court. I think the other family sued him to court, a case that till today has never been concluded, and I have not been too interested in that case. Now, I found myself, as soon as I started work, I had to take a loan. I bought a piece of land where my parents live on today in Kuru in Daken. I bought that piece of land in January 2009, 5th January to be precise. By June 2009, they have moved into the house. Ask me how I did that. It wasn't
How?
a fantastic home. Not the home itself. It wasn't a fantastic home, but it was built out of mud blocks, just like any of the village homes there.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I did more private lessons than I thought I could ever do, saving every kobo that was paid to me from all the homes I taught lessons. In Jos, despite the crisis that eventually happened in Jos, I started teaching the children in Mwazu's home some days by 9 p.m. That's crazy,
Mm-hmm.
one would say, because that was the time that they were free. Some days I'll end up sleeping in that house, some days I'll come back. These are Muslims. These are Muslims. And then on Bauchi Road, you know. So, and sometimes I got back to my house in Old Airport by 11 p.m., sometimes to 12 midnight. What was a young girl like me doing outside? I wasn't going to flirt. I was only going out to work. And at the same time, I began pursuing a degree in the University of Jos, a full-time degree with my job and with all the numerous private lessons I needed to do because I needed every kobo.
Yeah.
At this stage in my life, I didn't need to tell anybody what I was truly passing through. I didn't need to show it on me. I tried to be very modest, just get basic, decent clothes. Most of the time, they were fairly used clothes. Iron them well, wash and iron well, got my roll on just to ensure that I wasn't looking unkempt in front of people. And that was quite good for me. For the
Fantastic.
Moazus family, sometimes when they were traveling on vacation with their children, and they would ask me to come over, in the name I am teaching children lesson. I don't know what lesson you teach children on vacation. So went to a number of countries with them, and they would pay me my full wage, and at the same time still give me some monies there to enable me pick a few things that I needed. Trust this Birom girl that is more chinyere than the Igbo people. I saved I
Be
saved
careful,
most
oh,
of
I'm an
those.
Igbo woman. We still take
Aware
care
of
of
that.
our needs.
No, you're a Birom woman. You're an
I'm a
Igbo girl,
Igbo.
but a Birom woman.
Yes.
So, and the Chinyere that I am, I saved almost every kobo, came back home to impact my parents, my siblings at home. Now, my foster parents never demanded anything from me. I remembered when I bought a Hollandaise wrapper and gave my foster mother, she scolded me and said she didn't need any wrapper. She felt I needed to save every kobo, at best support my mother at home and my siblings too. But I still insisted occasionally, and I did one thing for either her or my siblings or to the house. And those were all part of my growing up to this global stage that God has brought me to. My work in SIMG, when I was in College of Education, Gindri, between 1995 and 1994 and 1997, as a student teacher, that was when I saw the horrible sight of what girls could do to themselves. Remember in St. Louis College, an only girls' school, Sister Patrick was so protective over us, and we were so caged. And I wouldn't say really caged like that, but we're so protected, where some of these horrible girls who would flirt with men and all of that, we didn't really know that so much. Social media was not there for us to see the things we see
Exactly.
today.
Yeah.
Yes. So, and I saw how girls were living this horrible lifestyle there. It was so clear hearing God say to me, take care of these girls, take care of young girls. And I began to write what I was hearing God telling me then. I still have those pieces of papers and those jotters up till today, where I began writing what I needed to do. But I wasn't so clear. I didn't even know anything about non-governmental organizations, NGO. I didn't know about all those structures. So what I now did was, when I came out of Gindri, I started work in as soon as I bought that land for my parents and then was able to buy the zinc, my mother, my father, and my siblings, that's my own biological parents, were all doing their best to do the mud blocks and then the building. So I supported with the funds I could, but for the zinc, the roofing sheets, and the wood, I bought all of that. So what I now did was that I joined a contribution where women come together every month. You drop some amount of money. Then at a certain period, it's your turn to pick that money. As soon as I collected my own money, I went to the market, bought 2 sewing machines, bought 2 hair dryers, and then continuous saving of my money. I was able to pay for a shop in Holshe. The shop is still there up till tomorrow, where
Wow.
I set up a tailoring and a salon. I think Ramatu came there very many times and also gave her own financial support to help build that business. That is the sister I have in Ramatu. And through that structure, I named it Simji Stitches Hair and Nails. So the stitches was for the tailoring, the hair was for this hair making, and then nails, anything that. And then girls began to come. We never collected a dime on any of the girls we trained there. And in that structure, we had trained 168 girls and a few young men free of charge through them. But I know that I needed more. I knew that was not all that God was telling me to do. And then I began to look out what other people too were doing. And I saw that some people's structures were far better than the one I did, because some of these girls, they will come today, tomorrow they will not come. And then I didn't really know exactly how to put them on, disciplining them to be focused and to remain on course. So, but before I got the name Simji, my name is Simi. Then my husband today, Dr. Nunji Bako Goshwe, first name is Nunji. We were boyfriend and girlfriend at the time. There wasn't any story about marriage proposal or anything like that. So I wanted a name, not any other name that anybody already had. So I was playing with words and letters. And I took the SIM from my name, Simi, and then the JI from his name, Nunji, the last 2 letters of his name, put them together. It sounded pleasant and nice, Simji. So
Good.
that is how the name Simji came up. But funny enough for me, when the Simji Stitches Hair and Nails was registered as a business name with Corporate Affairs Commission, I mounted a signboard in front of it. And I discovered plenty in gas people from Plateau were trooping into that place. And a few of them would say it is their own. And I was like, how can it be your own? You know, that mentality, you know. And funny enough, I chatted with him one of the days, and he told me, he said, "You didn't know that the Simji is in Ngas name?" I said, "No, it cannot be Ngas." And he laughed at me. So he now told me that it is an Ngas name, a good name has come. That's the meaning of Simji in his own language. And then I became even more excited about that. But when I got that name Simji, I told God and I told myself that I would like to be known and addressed as Simji all the days of my life, because the name Simji for me resonates purpose. It resonates my story, and that they are using my life story and challenges.
It's frozen again. So I'll use this time to ask the few people that have joined us, Lois and Vivian, to introduce yourself while we're waiting for her to reconnect. Lois, can you hear me, Lois?
Yes, I can. Good evening. Good to
Welcome.
be here.
My pleasure
I
to have
just
you.
saw, yes, Simji is a friend and a classmate. I just saw the link in our group
Yes,
and I started to hop in and see what's going on. I'm
yes.
excited. I'm happy to be part of what's going on here today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. She's frozen for now. She will soon go out and come back right into the interview. Thank you for joining us. This platform is the Expert Professional and Business Women's Network International. We started in Tunisia in 2013. We're a platform that train and empower women from different backgrounds, even though originally it generated from expatriate spouses who wanted to equip themselves because they were in foreign countries where they couldn't work or they couldn't study based on the language barrier or policies at that time. But now we've gone global. We're in more than 25 countries. Women from different ethnic group, religious group, is a non-political platform, non-ethnic. We do capacity building for women in different aspects of your life, emotional, psychological, business, and career. So you're welcome, and thank you for joining us. So I also want Vivian Sunday to introduce herself while we're waiting for Simi to, I'll just add her pin here, and then she'll continue where she stopped. Vivian, are you?
Vivian has sent a chat and she says
Oh, she
she's
sent
unable
it.
to talk.
Okay,
Yeah.
she's okay. So thank you, Vivian, for sending the chat. Hello, everyone. My name is Vivian. So sorry I can't talk now. I'm at work and can only chat. I'm Simji's friend and classmate. You're welcome. What a
Yeah.
pleasure to have. So Simji, your friends are turning up for you. So we're glad to have
Yes.
you along there. Okay. So
Okay, thank
as you
you.
were saying about your Simji name and the excitement.
Yes, yes. So that was how I told myself I wanted to be known by for the rest of my life as Simji, because it reflects my life, my story, the dark days, and then the days of grace that the Lord graced me with. And then because seeing all of that shows that God had a purpose for me and a mandate to fulfill. I'm quite happy I'm seeing Lois here. Lois is another fantastic sister that has been there in my life through thick and thin. Vivian is amazing. There are many of them, my classmates in St. Louis. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, sisters. So, and then I began to interact with people.
Mm.
Those whom I see were doing some organizations, like the late engineer Priscilla Dewa. We didn't meet her in St. Louis College, but she's an old girl, was an old girl, she's late now. And Priscilla ran an organization and her own NGO. So I asked her, and she quickly sat me down and guided me through the processes. I also met the late Sister Patricia Yelkoba, a Reverend sister, who also ran the Teenage Girls Empowerment Center in Jos. It's still functioning. Before she died, she had a collaboration with the Catholic Archdiocese of Jos. So the Archdiocese of Jos didn't let that vision go down. They had appointed some other woman who is still running today. So both of them had meetings with me severally, guided me through coming up with thematic areas and objective and all of that. And then in 2008, I headed to the Corporate Affairs Commission to get us registered. It took quite a long time, but eventually we got the name Simji Girl Child Empowerment Initiative. And our mandate has been working more with disadvantaged girls, orphaned girls all around the place. And then the crisis on the plateau in 2008 was another very fierce crisis. It was horrible. So that encouraged me to continue to do more, to seek for more. When we had begun the registration process, at that stage, I knew a little better what we wanted for these girls. The salon, like I said, is still functioning till today, but I'm not directly running it. I just handed it over to one of the girls we had trained there over the years, and she is still running there and then gives us some royalties at the end of the month and so on and so forth. So, and we now had a different space where we were now bringing in these girls. We have the first set of girls we trained now on the Simji Girl Child Empowerment Initiative. We had 10 girls who came after school hours for 3 hours every day, Monday to Friday. Then occasionally they came on Saturday. That Saturday was a different arrangement. So they came and we did discipleship. We did study the Bible together. I needed to guide them through prayer and through the way of our Lord. Then we learned how to sew, and then they learned how to knit, both with the knitting pins, with the crochet. Eventually, we got the sewing machines, which we still have up till today. And then through that structure again, we began to guide the girls through ICT, computer literacy. And then for some of the girls, we were able to get them back to school because some of them were out of school. So we got some of them back to school, some to primary school and some to secondary school. And through that structure today, we've graduated we got over 200 girls that have been able to come back to school and have graduated with various certifications. Before I forget, one of the girls we had helped as a teenage young mother, she got pregnant while in secondary school and her father threw her out of home. She ran home and got to Bauchi. In 2013, we were called by a priest from St. John's Cathedral also in Bauchi. Now, we used to have our Simji Digest published every month, and it went far. So I guess the priest saw it and saw our contact, and he called. And I told him I was the one. And he now told me they have this challenge. And trying to find out the background of the girl, I asked her for various phone numbers, even her father, and she gave me. And then I called the man and told him, the moment I mentioned the girl's name, he became very furious and bitter and promised to kill me if he saw me. By saying that, I became more determined to help the young girl.
So what was the story behind the young girl that prompted such a negative response?
And I asked that she should be brought. She got pregnant and see if she wanted to remain his daughter, but she refused. So Pastor Tolu Alabi used to be in Jos. Then she moved to Lagos. And eventually, Pastor Benjamin Joshua, who was in Jos too, but he's in Britain for many years, we got into talking on all of that. So Benjamin Joshua, Pastor Tolu Alabi told me that I should handle the case I should bring the girl in. That those were some of the bitter challenges in the work I have chosen to do, and that they would support me. So Tolu quickly sent me 20,000 naira, which meant a lot. And then Benjamin told me to go to Mark Libdo, engineer Mark Libdo. He had a place where he helped some of the Hausa girls who got into trouble like that too. But when we got to Mark Libdo, they said, yes, I could bring the girl, but I'll be responsible for her feeding and upkeep. I told them no problem. The girl had come from Bauchi. I called them, Lido, can I bring the girl now? And they said I should hold on. Till today, they never responded to me. So I had to take Victoria to my parents' home in Kuru that night. So she stayed for a bit with my mother at home in Kuru until Priscilla Dewa heard the story and quickly offered. That Priscilla asked me to bring the girl to her house. Ramatu, close to your former house then, if you remember, So, and that was how I took Victoria there to Priscilla until Victoria had her baby. After about 4 months, she had her baby. It was such a task. It was a difficult task, but we were very happy. The
Your audio is breaking.
Allowed me into the labor room because I requested if I can be there, that she won't give birth, and they stayed in until she had her baby. Now, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay, that's good. So as soon as Victoria's baby came on, she just said, my baby's name is Destiny. Now, Victoria's life is such a life. When she was in Bauchi, her cousin linked her to a woman he was serving in their shop. And the woman quickly took Victoria in and was already negotiating the unborn baby for 10 million naira in 2013. What did the teenager know about 10 million naira? So the girl packed her things, ran to that cathedral church in Bauchi, where she stayed on there for 3 weeks until the priest who tried to get some of his parishioners to take her in, and none of them agreed to take her in until we now came in. So when Victoria had her baby, we of course were all out to look for baby things. We bought everything she needed for herself and baby. Late Priscilla Dewa was preparing to relocate to the United States of America. So I knew that Victoria will have to leave sooner than later. But I was with this challenge. She needed to go back to her father's house. After all, the child had been born. So I got in contact with her siblings and they were begging, no, I should give the child out for adoption. And I said, no, I wasn't going to let her give that child out because there was already a very close bond. For rejecting the woman in Bauchi, running away meant she wanted to keep her baby. And the young girl had already bought a few things for her baby. So I saw those things and I knew that there was going to be a true connect with her child. So, and we took her to the father's house this fateful Sunday night because they said if I must bring her, I should bring her at night. I knew that whatever they were hiding, daybreak will come and they would see the baby or baby will cry. So we reunited her back. Her brother, her elder brother and her elder sister were so excited to see their nephew who resembled them very well. But before then, the boy that had impregnated her, I knew his mother in church because we were both in the same church. I knew her in the women's fellowship. So, and when I tried to call the young man, he insulted me terribly. I didn't bother. I knew that one day he would come looking for this child. That I said to myself. Then his mother, when I just tried to speak to her, if she knew anything, she told me no, her child is in a 300 level in a Madonna University. I shouldn't let them expel her child, and her son he will not be able to have ejaculation, let alone to impregnate a girl. And I just told her, I said, Madam, let's be careful so that tomorrow we'll not be running helter-skelter looking for this grandchild. At that stage, I will not be giving the child to the family, and we let it there. But funny enough, or the beautiful side of it, the young girl called me today and told me she'll be getting married on the 8th of November.
Oh, fantastic.
And the baby, our destiny is in junior secondary school too. Yes.
Wow.
So those are some of the defining moments of the work we have done, the success story of the work that we are doing. And it keeps giving me the courage and the encouragement not to give up, but to remain focused and resilient in doing this work. Then going back and forth on Simji, the crisis on the plateau broke out even more fierce. The Dogona Hawa massacre of over 500 people in one night. Simji, among many other organizations, swung into action. We got palliatives, we got some clothes. We're always talking use clothes, use shoes, and warm clothing. We're always stocking it up for times when we would have need to give them. So we quickly took them there and some food stuff. I rallied around some of our friends and they gave support. So we went to Dogo. And I realized that going to Dogo Nahawa, one of the times my other classmate in St. Louis, Abigail Kakies, came from Lagos to come and do an intervention there. Because we had gone there, she still asked us to accompany her, which we did. So we looked at, instead of just taking foodstuff or palliatives to them, why not we teach them some of the skills we knew in Simji that we were teaching these young girls. So we trained the women and the youths in Dogo Nahawa in their clusters on how to make liquid detergent, and how to make pomade, how to make shampoo and hair cream, among other things. And then we didn't just let it do only one teaching, we kept going there. And then we got them into these clusters where when they made, then they sold as cooperatives. Then we gave them some startup packs of giving them the ingredients for the production of these things. And then we saw that they were becoming strong in doing it. Then this crisis in Riom, local government also heightened. So we moved our strength from Dogona Hawa to Riom, local government. Riom was a very pathetic, fearful, and risking our life, we'll be flying to in the air and all of that. So, and that's how we helped the internally displaced persons, the women and the children in Riom. And each time we went to Riom, you saw these beautiful, innocent young girls. Sometimes you went back again, you would see that beautiful girl you've seen, either pregnant or she is
she's having a network connection. So would like to give her time while she reconnects.
Around 12, 13, 14,
Can you hear us?
years. It became a big concern and worry.
We can hear.
Then we started.
Can you hear us? Your internet is low, so it's not making us hear you. Okay, she's off again. So she's gotten a system of joining in. So I have to add that. Okay.
I'm using two networks so that I'm using two sources of power to, in case one fails, I turn on the other. So yes, so when I asked the women what they actually wanted from us to do for them in Riom, And the women leader at the camp, because it was a meeting that day with just the women, the men were not part of the meeting and the girls were not part of the meeting, just the women. So, and the women said to me, one of them said to me that if I help them get a place, take some of the orphaned girls among them away from that community, they were very sure that one or two of them will succeed in life. And immediately it sparked in my head that I've always wanted to run an orphanage. Even though my husband told me right from the beginning that no, he didn't want the word orphanage, that it takes more than just bringing people in and giving them food. So, and then of course, I told myself right from the beginning, in doing this work, I'd like to keep my family intact. I wouldn't want in the course of the work, I lose my family. So I knew that respecting Oga, obeying my husband was very, very important here. So I let low the thought about orphanage, but I kept pondering on it. It kept sparking in my heart each time, especially when we go to the IDP camps and we see these girls, many more girls becoming pregnant. And then I asked the women, who is impregnating them? Is it the Fulani people fighting you, people burning your villages, or is it their own people? And the women truthfully told me that some of the girls, it's the Fulani people that impregnated them, but many others were being impregnated by their own people there. So I came back home, prayed fervently, asked a few people to join me in prayer. And then one of the nights within that period, my husband woke me up around 2 a.m. and he asked me, when am I ever going to open that orphanage I've been talking about? Wow. And I said, God, you're a God that answers all our prayers. And now, before then, when the women told me what they really needed, I got to the building material markets in the plateau. I asked them how much it will cost to produce the double bunk beds, like what we had growing up in St. Louis Collegios. And the fellow had told me, I had some money. I just deposited and I asked him, can you make 10 of the, no, sorry, can you make 6 of these bunks? That's for 12 children. And he said, why not? So I paid him for it. He finished making, I didn't know what to do with them. I said, keep them. The day I will come, I'll come. So that night when he woke me up, I quickly told him, I said, once you give me the permission, even tomorrow I will swing into action. And immediately we saw a house, a twin flat, which you knew back in the days, Kego, because you came in there with your husband, yes, and your friends, yes. So we saw that twin flat. Because it's children, we had to take the 2 flats. So one was their residential, and the second one, we made it for their school. So we went to Rome, interviewed the girls in 2016, and then we were going to bring in 10 girls into the home. But the 10th girl wasn't coming, that she went to the bush to go and pluck a wild fruit. Now, in all the admission of children we have done into our home, we always made sure we carried the social welfare department of any local government along, so that we were not accused of working illegally or this ugly trend of adopting or kidnapping or trafficking children today. Now, so we had come back from Cape Town in South Africa, attended the media campaign against trafficking in persons, organized by Anne Abok, who is now, I think she's a reverend now in the UK. So Anne and her late husband organized that, and I was there to that conference. And so I knew a bit better about trafficking in persons. That was shortly then we now opened our orphanage to these girls. Now, the 10th girl didn't come, like I said, but rather than the director of the social welfare to leave that blank space, she quickly ran to the camps and picked just any orphan girl randomly and put her and brought her. This girl was so unkempt because she wasn't prepared, and that's how they came with these children to our home when we opened the home. We opened the home to these children on our wedding anniversary. Rather than celebrating or doing a party with our friends, we dedicated that day to bringing the children into the home, 10th of June 2016. And it's been a journey, an up and down journey, a very difficult journey, a journey I didn't even know from where I would probably be getting resources for these children. But God continued to open big doors for us every time. Ramatu's mother came to represent Ramatu at that opening because there's really nothing that I have truly done that Ramatu is not present. Most times she's not physically present, but Mama will always come. And they all came with some provisions. My St. Louis Old Girls Association, led by President then Magdalene Wigege or so, she was the national president, came with the ESCOs from Jos. I was an ESCO member. They came with so much provisions for the children. My friend in the orphan.
So we want to use this time to welcome Gina for joining us. The interview is with Simi Goshwe. She's a chaplain, owns an orphanage, and she's having problem with her connection, so she knows how to go in and out. She'll soon be joining us back. She's joining us from Nigeria. The guest speaker is from Nigeria, so we're just waiting for her to reconnect with us. Simji, can you hear us? Okay, she's joined again.
It is well. So,
Okay.
like I said, I didn't know that starting the orphanage, people will be there to give me some support. And we kept on like that, not until we got to where we are today. Today in Simji Orphanage, we have 38 children in the home. We didn't intend to have this number of children. We just wanted a fewer number where I know each child by name. I know each child's story. I know each child's problems. I know the needs of each child if I looked at them. Right now on the plateau, there's a lot of trafficking of children. So the Gender and Equal Rights Commission keep rescuing children from the communities, from abusive families, and then they keep bringing them to us, and it has increased our number from 20 to this 38, though some of the children are on transit. So otherwise, there are quite a number that Gender Commission has brought to us within the period. And this work hasn't been so easy, to say the least, but God has been there. And I do know that anything that one does, if God is involved, I've seen that little is much when God is involved.
Yes.
Ramatu is one person. I'm calling Ramatu severally here that I could call her at any time. Ramatu, we have the need, and she will do her best. Lois is here with us online. I could easily call her, and she's there. And a number, even you, Kego, you've been a family that adopted the orphanage by the grace of God. And look at the miracle you did. I'll talk about it very soon here. The miracle you did in when was it? Is it September, August?
August.
When August, yes, when your husband, you brought him back to Nigeria to celebrate his 60th birthday amidst your family and friends, and Simji was well represented there. The children were given a spot, even though children were not to be at the party, but Simji children are your children, and that's how you brought them there and all of that. So the work in Simji truly has been amazing. When we brought the first set of children in 2016, I tried to enroll them in schools around us in Dadinkowa, but every school I went to, of the 3 schools we went to, they turned the children down and said to me that they couldn't speak Hausa, they couldn't speak English, they were only speaking Birom, their native language, that they won't be able to fit them in any class. So my daughter Lapnen challenged me one of the days when I was crying in one of the schools. And she said, Mommy, why are you crying? Are you not a teacher again? You have always wanted to run a school. It's time. Lapnen was about 6 years old at the time. And God gave her this wisdom to give to me. And that's how we began Simji Integrated Academy alongside Simji Girl Child Empowerment Initiative and Orphanage. So we went to the Corporate Commission again to register Simji Integrated Academy, and that gave us the direction to begin to teach these children. But what we did with them, because we had calculated that by the age of 18, any girl at 18 shouldn't be in the orphanage again because she's already a young adult. So, and we knew that the way Nigeria was, if we're not intentional or deliberate to make sure that by the age of 18, they're out of secondary school at least. So we began to teach the children more of a remedial thing. Some of them were doing 2 or 3 class work in one academic session. We taught them through the accelerated Christian education. I had to send my teachers to go and be trained to run that program, and it worked out so well for us. Worthy of note here today, it's part of a huge success story, the latest of our success story. Mafeng Margaret Dachung is that girl who was picked randomly from the camp to replace the 10th girl who went to the bush to look for wild fruits. So Mafeng got to secondary school after the first, she came to us in 2016, and by 2019, September, 19 September, we sent her to secondary school. We took a chance. 4 of them were sent to secondary school. One of them dropped out of school in JSS2, Junior Secondary School 2. Then the other 3 continued and graduated in July 2025 from secondary school. They both wrote JAM. That's the entrance to the university. All 3 of them passed, with Mafeng gaining admission in the Plateau State University, Bokos, Plasu. So yesterday, I was with her in Bokos to get her registered as a university student. Kego, your daughter is a university girl.
Yes, so
So,
congratulations
and
to
that's, thank you so much. So we're waiting for the other 2 for their admission to come out. One of them desires to study TV production. So we're pursuing admission for her at the NTA Television College. Our good friend Amanda Dadze says to us that they are resuming in January. So hopefully by then, we're sure that Nirat's admission will be out. Favor intends to read nursing. So we missed one of the exams for the Plateau State School of Nursing, but we are hoping on Ola Hospital for her to write the exams and probably make it to be admitted to the School of Nursing. And we are very, very positive that it will work. Then there are 3 other girls. Okay, first of all, Nzem is in St. Louis College, Jos. Nzem says to me at the end of her junior WAEC 2 sessions ago, and says, Mommy, your girl has graduated from junior secondary school. Please, can you take me to St. Louis College, Jos, your alma mater? I was drinking my cup of tea. The cup fell off my hand because I said, if I send you to St. Louis College, it means I'll not train the other sisters of yours in the house. We all laughed it. She said it again, and another day she said, so my husband said, why don't you go to St. Louis and see if you can secure admission for her? Then you can now sit down and analyze and see if you can pay or not. And she went, wrote the exams, and she passed very well and got admission. And from nowhere, God sent us one of my school daughters in St. Louis, Nirat Adamu.
She's frozen again. So We'll be waiting for her to rejoin us. Simi, we can't hear you. You're frozen. I want to use this opportunity to welcome Rosemary Dap. Thank you for joining us. If you can unmute and just introduce yourself while we're waiting for the speaker to rejoin us. Rosemary.
Okay. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, ma.
Okay. I'm Rosemary. I'm Angela's classmate from St. Louis College.
Oh, thank you for joining this discussion. Thank you for supporting her. She'll soon be joining us right back. She's right back with us now. So
Yes, sorry for my bad network here. So that's how we got Nzem into St. Louis. Nzem is now in senior secondary school 2, SS2 now. But at the end of SS1, Nzem did very, very well in St. Louis College. I was called by the school and we got a commendation for Nzem. She was the best behaved in her class last session and was the best in some of her science classes. And when she came home, she said to me, she said, "Mommy, please give an opportunity to at least 2 more of my sisters into St. Louis Collegios. They will do well." Now, what we have done in SIMG, we tried to group the girls into 4 categories. We grouped them into 4 categories. The very intelligent ones that can compete favorably with our children, if given the opportunity to go anywhere. That's this group of Nzem, Ruth, Precious, and so on. Then when we now got the 2 of them to go for exams, and they passed. But I didn't know where I will get their fees from anywhere. We had paid the non-refundable deposit of 100,000 naira each for them so that we didn't lose the place because we had the dates to do that. And then this your husband's birthday in Nigeria came closer. And we were there. The children sang for their daddy, they danced for their daddy, and we left. They left earlier than myself, and then I had Nzem stay back with me. When we were driving back with Nzem around 8 p.m., I just told Nzem, I said, "Nzem, do this calculation of your 2 sisters' school fees for me, the balances we needed to pay." And she told me that I needed 986,000 naira to pay the balance of their fees. Wow. And I told her, "Nzem, I don't know where the money will come from, but your sisters will sure go to school." Before the end of this night, Nzem, we're going to hear God speak to us. We barely got home. They opened the gate for me, and everybody was calling me. My phone was ringing, on and on. Where are you? Honorable Aliyu Wadada is calling you. So I said, "I don't know any Aliyu Wadada from Adam." So the MC, Gloria Thomas, who was my senior in secondary school, and then I'm in the same Rotary Club of Naraguta with her. Gloria immediately called me and said, "Where are you? Come into the hall now." With that same voice of a senior. I just told her, I said, "Senior, I have reached my house and nothing is going to make me come out again. And my house is far, the road is bad." So she quickly said, "Send Sinji's account, or is it the one she knows?" I said, "It is the one." And as we were talking with her, an alert came into my account. Wow, it was 1 million naira, 1 whole million naira hits my account. Kego, now go there. Thank you so much. And Birom will say, so that was how God answered our prayer that very night that I told Nzem. Nzem just shouted. She said, "Mommy, your prayer was very prophetic. You said it." And so that was Saturday. By Monday morning, I was at the bank before 8 a.m. They opened the bank with me. And I paid the school fees of these 2 girls with that entire money. This was grace speaking.
Amen.
Now, after these girls had settled in St. Louis, my friend Pastor Gladys called me and said she wants to support Ruth's education. which we have not yet seen, but maybe it will. Then a classmate of ours, Lucia Mutbam Bewaran, our same classmate in St. Louis College, chatted me and said she wanted to sponsor, this time more specific sponsorship. She didn't want that random thing she had been doing with us in Simji. So she said, give me a girl and tell me her school fees. I will pay the school fees all through the way secondary school. So I quickly gave her Ruth's name and told her what I had done. I had paid 100,000. I didn't tell her about Wadada yet. Yes, so, and then, okay, no, we had not yet heard of Wadada yet. So, but Lucia quickly did the calculation and sent Ruth's school fees in full. That is grace,
It's
speaking
grace.
this child of grace.
Yeah. Thank you so
And these girls are settled in school in St. Louis. The day I took them to school, my husband, my daughter, when we took them, and then one of my staff, Balaraba, when Ruth got to school, they had cleared in, they had checked in. She had gone to her hostel, Ganaka house. She came back running and said, Mommy, I'm dreaming. And I said, Ruth, you're not dreaming. So she said, pinch me. And I pinched her truly. And she said, Mommy, I'm feeling the pain. I said, because I pinched you, you're not dreaming. So this is the faith that God called me. My story from being adopted, fostered from age 3, was not for myself alone,
Yeah.
was not for my family alone, but it was for this work, this mandate that God has given me. And one thing that I'm grateful to God, though a lot of times I call specific people and tell them, send us support. And God has used such people to come through to us. Some at the time may tell me, sorry, we can't help now, but when we have, we will help. And a few people have given me nasty responses. Like people have said to me, I should stop begging, I should stop. So I told them, I said, the children can't ask. I'm the one that will beg on their behalf. And if it sounds beggy, that I must do for the sake of the children. But I continue to walk, and I will continue to walk until strength fails me. That's a paid job, because it's not every time that people are giving us resources. It's not every time that people are giving food into the orphanage. It's not every time that people are sending me school fees for the children, but all 38 children must be in school, because I have tested the power of being in school. I have seen and I have tested the power of educating a woman or a girl child. If my foster parents, the late dad, Dr. Musa Marcus, and the late Ngo Teresa Musa, had not trained me, giving me that background training, I won't be where I am today. Ngo Teresa Musa, my foster mother, is graduated from St. Louis College just in the second set of girls that graduated from St. Louis in 1966. And still got me to that same school where all her daughters, except for Lillian, who went to Federal Government Girls College, Bauchi, all her 3 daughters passed out of St. Louis, with myself being the 4th daughter, and the late Dorothy Kataiko, my cousin, who we both grew up with the Musas and all went to St. Louis College on the platter of this generous Musas family. Which family does that in Nigeria today? Which family gives children of nobodies a say and a stake in their family? It's this Musa's family. And I know today, mommy was so excited when I told her I was going to open an orphanage one day. And even when we prepared to open the orphanage, unfortunately, mommy died 9 days to her 70th birthday. So she didn't witness the opening of the orphanage. So you can see, Kego, the reason why I do the things I do with so much passion, zeal, and dedication, because God gave me the privilege and the opportunity that a lot of people do not ever have in town. Then I also work with the Muslim community in the city of Jos and in any part of Nigeria. Do you know why? I had grace given to me by my classmates and friend Ramatu Umar Bako, who who was a Muslim girl and today a very passionate Muslim woman. She has continued to be one of our benefactors to these children. My friend Corey Shetima, engineer Corey Shetima, a Kanuri girl from Borno State, a Muslim girl who was also my classmate in St. Louis College, who at the time we were young girls in St. Louis College, knew my pain and would sacrifice her pocket money a lot of times and giving to me whenever I was sent out for school fees. And I would use that money and quickly run to the bursary and pay. These are Muslim girls that gave me an opportunity at the time that I was a child. Most of us graduated from secondary school between the ages of 16 and 17 and so on. I was 17 at the time. And I'm telling you, it was not just like that, but it was divine intervention and divine favor that Ramatu and Kori Shetima were part of my formative years, part of this story that God called me into today. So with that, finding myself working with the Muslim community is no news anymore. A lot of criticism, people have insulted me, people have said all sorts of names. The Muslims are killing you, your people, and you're busy training their children, and I will continue to train their children until the Lord tarries. Because I
Fantastic.
enjoyed grace from that community,
Yeah.
and I will
Yeah.
continue to do it.
And
Yeah,
before we were either Muslim or Christians, we were first human.
yeah.
And
We're
religion is
first
not the
humans.
basis for kindness.
No
And
way.
that was the
Yes,
kindness they showed to you. They didn't see you as a
yes.
Christian girl. They saw you, like
No.
Ramatu said, that you were friendly. She loved being, and
Yeah.
that's what
Mm.
that should be the first thing that should come to our
Yeah.
mind. Unfortunately, we
Mm.
have what we have, religious riot, and honestly, the most innocent of us all suffer because it is
Suffer.
not the epitome of who Muslims are or Christians are.
Yeah.
But when these things
Yeah.
happen, it's people like Ramatu and you that bridge the
Yeah.
gap to let people know
Yeah.
that it doesn't matter whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian. What matters is the
Mm.
love and the kindness that is shared among human race. So this has
Yeah.
been a very interesting interview because we're talking about the impact of one woman's work in the lives of so many vulnerable children. And being a
Mm.
teacher of special needs children, I can
Yeah.
understand. I feel an affinity to the work you do, and that has been why I've been involved with your center for the
Yes.
since 2016.
Until
So
today. Yeah.
I understand your passion. I understand the commitment. I also know the financial strain involved in taking
Mm.
care of children with special needs and children that
Mm.
are vulnerable, that do not have the kind
Mm.
of support system that other regular children have. So on behalf
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
your classmates that have been here and our listener, Gina, who joined, she's a spouse, a colleague of mine here in DC, one of the wives of the World Bank staff. I want to say thank you, Gina, for joining in. Also want to thank Ramatu, Lois, Vivian, Biodun, and all the rest of them, Chundu Shah, that took
Isha.
time
Yeah.
out to come and support you and to hear your story. It's a beautiful story, heartwarming, challenging, shows your characteristic of resilience, perseverance, and dedication. And that speaks of who you are. Hearing, for me to understand who you are, hearing your story has really epitomized my relationship with you. That is the
Yeah.
affinity that we share. That is the trust I have in the work you do. That is
Yeah.
the magnet that draws me to be part of the work you
Yeah.
do with CMG Girls. And apart from that, even your interrelationship with me has been always respectful, friendly, because we didn't know each other from Adams. Funny enough,
No, it's this
I
work.
think
It's
I
this
think
work.
the work just brought us together, and since then we've been a family. And since then, the children
Yes.
has been part of my family and my vision in the work I do, both at home and abroad. So there's
Yeah.
someone who just joined us, Kure.
And
You're
that's a classmate too, Lami.
okay, Lami.
Another
You're
classmate
welcome.
from St. Louis.
You're
Yes.
welcome. Thank you for joining us. We were just rounding up the interview. It has
Mm,
been wonderful spending almost an hour and a half. That's the longest we've been
mm.
on this interview. It's usually for 1 hour, but your story cannot be
Mm.
short.
Yes.
It's good for people to hear the story about who you are, the work you're doing,
Mm.
and the work you will continue to do. So I want to thank
Mm.
you for accepting the invitation to be on the
Mm.
Expert Professional and Business Women's Network International one-on-one interview with Princess Nwakego, Ibrahim-Pam. The network is specifically for expatriate spouses who um, follow their husband around the world and in the process lose touch with either their career or their businesses or lose their financial independence. So we came together in 2013 in Tunisia to form this forum where we support each other to rebrand ourselves, to make sure that our CVs do not have a gap, so that when we come back to our respective home country, we're able to be at par with our colleagues and we're able to blend back into our careers or into our
Cultivate.
businesses as at the time we left our home country. So it's my pleasure welcoming each and every one of you to this platform. We do capacity building for women. We help women who want to start their businesses. We provide legal and psychological support to women who are in vulnerable situation. And we're in over 25 countries around the world. So it's a good place to connect because your net worth is a network of your networking. So if you want to meet people just beyond uh, your your vicinity, join our programs. You see people from all over the world, from different backgrounds, and you never know where the doors will be opened for you. So, Simji, Simi, my friend, my
Yeah.
sister,
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
my my partner, my collaborator. I'm happy
Yeah.
that we have spent today listening to your story, and I pray that as many people who listen to your story, we find the affinity in the work you do and support you and be part of your organization to make sure that these children who come through your center have the benefit of a good education and in that way change the trajectory of their coming from abject poverty and changing the generations of people that will come through them or the families whom they will get involved with to impact them for the future because our work is for impact.
Yeah.
Anyone who works with children or with families is for impact so that generations can be changed through our impact or the work we do or the position we are in. Thank you, everyone. God bless you and have a wonderful day. Thank you, Simi.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you
Thank
so
you. God
much.
You
bless
have
Yeah.
the
everyone.
last word. You have the last word. What are your expectations for those who will be listening? How do you want us to help? So I give you the floor. So
For
you can.
those for those who are listening today, where whatever the Lord lays in your hand to assist or to help us, we will be so grateful to receive it. No amount is too little or is too much. Like I said, when God is a little is much when God is involved. And I have seen that our levels of interventions can never be put to shame, not now nor in the future. And I'm telling you, whatever you have, you can decide to sponsor a girl's education in full or in parts. You can decide to sponsor the meals of a child, no matter how little it is. You can support our building project for our own permanent site of the center because we live in rented and the children's school is a rented apartment. You can support the payment of even just a teacher's allowance or a volunteer in the work we're doing. You can bring food stuff like my sister Lois will always do, bring food in quantum to the children in the house. You can even visit them and come and have a little teaching or interaction with them. You can come and share your own story with them. Like Matthew, who just got the admission to read accounting in Plateau State University, says that she wants to be bigger and better than Professor Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. These are big dreams. So we can help these children. Lovely, put on the light for me. You can help these children to help us today by supporting any of our interventions in the home. Remember, apart from the 38 children we have in-house in the orphanage, we also care for 168 other orphan children across various IDP centers in the state through their kingsmen. So we support their education, giving them school materials like backpacks, uniform. Yay, the lights came now. Backpacks, uniforms, and so on and so forth. So in whichever way, you can actually even just give clothes to the children, maybe in December, just like I have my friend I met online, Professor Miller, who gives the children clothes period twice in a year. For a couple of years now, she has done that. And then, just whatever you can give will be well appreciated. So whether you want to give us cash, we would appreciate it. We channel it towards the Educational Endowment Trust Fund or towards their feeding and nutrition and so on. But one thing I want to say to this on this global stage, you will not give one grain of foodstuff or one dime of money to Simji and it will be diverted. We'll have a system that works, whether I am there or not, a reporting system that has to work, because whatever you give to us, we send you an acknowledgement with that figure or with what you have given, what the staff would report to me, so that if there's a discrepancy in that, you would be able to tell whether we're actually genuine or not. So we are able to do that so that we're able to run the race very, very well. You could give warm clothing. The Hamatan will soon be setting in. The children need just whatever you can give them. You can organize a party for them in December or at any time. You can even invite your family, friends, your network to come celebrate their birthday parties or whatever event, or invite the children. They love it. What Princess Nwakego has done for the children in Simji is so awesome. And they talk about her as their Oyubo mother, their foreign mother, because they know this mother is not a Nigerian. As far as they are concerned, she's a Black American or a Black whatever they want to call her. This is the goodness that God has put for us through her, bringing the children to various parties she has celebrated. When her daughters all got married, she made sure all her daughters got married here in Nigeria. She would take her daughter's bride price and give everything to the children in Simji. Can you beat that? It can only be done by Kego and our big daddy Ibrahim-Pam, that can be so generous to these orphan children. When these children were still smelling and still dirty, they would carry them up, hold them on their lap, making them feel loved and making them feel appreciated. Today, these are the children who are now standing in side by side with our children in schools, and now they are already becoming university students. Whatever you do in Simji, I cannot speak for another organization. I can only speak for Simji. Whatever you do in Simji, I'm telling you, it has a multiplier effect, and we'll do it until we get to the promised land. So join us today as co-missionaries in this mission field in Simji Girl Child Empowerment Initiative and Orphanage. While I appreciate my employers, Plateau Private School, Jos, who have never doubted what I do Simji as outside of my official work, but I've always tried not to let it affect my official work, even though sometimes I have to take permission from work to enable me attend to pressing matters that relate to Simji that need my urgent attention. So I'm grateful to my founders, Mr. Lucky Aliyu Momo, and to my current managing director, Mr. Alhassan Shuaibu Momo, to my principal, Mr. Silas John Gofwan, and for even finding me worthy over these 25 years that I've been working in Plateau Private. Was appointed Vice Principal Academics 9 years ago, and I'm grateful to God that I've been able to put that together alongside my PhD studies that it's ongoing in the University of Jos. And then much more grateful to my husband, Dr. Nunjibako Goshwe, who has been very generous and kind to me all this while. All the medical matters that concern the children in Simji, he handles that together with Rose Shah, a board member who is a nurse, and to the board of trustees in Simji, both the past and the current board of trustees. I am indeed very, very grateful for their support. And to anybody who has ever supported Simji, whether in the past or those who are still supporting us in Simji, honestly, we're indeed very, very grateful, and heaven will shine upon everyone. And for those who would dare to come on board to being our partners because you listened to my story on this program, we are very, very grateful. I wrote my autobiography at 50, and it's titled A Voice Speaking to Her. It is my story that explains part of what I have said here today are contained in that book. Almost everything I said here is contained in that autobiography. I'm so grateful to all those who have supported me. Samuel Atta, he was trying to join, but he couldn't connect eventually, and all the people around me who make these things work. To my staff, Balaraba, Benedicta, Monret, Gambo, Pankes, Esther, Kunan, and Daniel. Who am I forgetting? I hope I'm not forgetting any of you. All of you, I love you, and there is nothing anybody can do about it. And to my special children in Simji, I say thank you so much.
Thank you too. So can you give us a number or an email that those who will listen to this interview can copy and contact you directly?
Okay, so for the email, Simi, small letters, all small letters, similapnen@gmail.com, Simi, SIMILAPNEN @gmail.com. Simi, SIMILAPNEN @gmail.com. Then the phone number, +234 803 401 6885. +234 803 401 6885.
Then if you can drop the account number.
Okay, on as a text message here.
Okay, when I'm posting the video, I'll get all the details so that I can attach it with the video, so that
It's okay.
So that anybody who is listening will have all your details and the account details, and so that some people
It's
like
all right.
being anonymous, so
Yes,
they don't need to call you if they have this thing, they will send directly to your account.
That's all
Thank
right.
you so much,
Thank
and
you
God
so
bless you. Bye-bye.
Thank you for bringing me to the global stage. Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Thank you, Ramatu.
Thank you, Ramatu.